Welcome back, Arts Fundraisers, to our final video in this series. While annual giving is critical to your current operations, planned giving is the key to long-term sustainability. Almost everyone is familiar with the term planned giving, and so I'll start with a quick definition of how RSC views it, and then I'll share our best practices on how to successfully incorporate it into the fabric of your overall fundraising program. Today, we're going to first define planned giving, then outline the critical elements of a planned giving program. We're going to talk about marketing your program, and finally, help you advance conversations with prospects and celebrate their success. Let's look at our key points. First question is, what is planned giving? Planned giving refers to gifts that are arranged in the present, but not coming to fruition until later. These could include bequests or charitable gift annuities, trusts, and all sorts of planned giving vehicles that we won't get into in deep detail here, but there's certainly enough of them to explore. The great thing about planned gifts is twofold, really. Number one, they help secure future funding without requiring an immediate financial contribution. And second, they speak directly to the long-term fiscal sustainability of your arts organization. So for those people who know you, like you, trust you, this is a way for them to make a legacy gift that will go on for a very long time, if not forever. Second, starting a planned giving program. Different organizations are at different stages of their planned giving program, but let's begin by educating your donors about the options available to them. Many donors want to leave a legacy, but they don't know how to do it specifically with your institution in ways that benefit both you and them. Also, offer simple ways for donors to give, like including your organization in their will or naming your organization as a beneficiary of a life insurance policy. Planned giving should not be complicated. Number 3, positioning planned giving in your campaigns. I don't think that planned giving should be a standalone, spiraling out there by itself. It really should be a part of your broader fundraising strategy, because while it's critical, in fact, to emphasize those annual gifts, you also want to encourage your donors to think long-term, because as an organization, you're thinking long-term. Also, incorporate planned giving opportunities into your donor communications and cultivate relationships with longtime donors who may be interested in legacy giving. How do you get prospective planned gift donors to raise their hand and say, I'm interested in learning more? It's a slightly different approach than, say, annual giving. It can take much longer. You might take years of exposing prospective donors to planned gifts before they finally show some interest. And again, that's okay. Number 4, engaging your donors in planned giving. Create special recognition programs for planned giving donors. We all talk about naming opportunities, and some organizations have planned gift clubs where they have a special dinner every year and so forth. I think it's great, and I think you should recognize those donors now while they're alive for their commitment to your organization's future. I know most legacy gifts have some sort of legacy naming opportunity, and again, that's great. But if we don't do anything while they're still with us and while they're still around to enjoy it, we're selling everybody short on this, our organization and the donor. Let's get into more detail by examining RSC's basic rules for a successful planned giving program. How does RSC define a planned giving program? Well, here are some simple guidelines. First, a planned giving program is simply an avenue for a donor to notify you that they have made a financial provision for your organization in their estate plans. Second, the program streamlines recognition and benefits and communications to simultaneously steward current Legacy Society members so that you are ensuring their gifts are eventually realized, to inspire new prospects to notify you or to discuss with you that they have an interest in making a planned gift. Third, it creates a virtuous cycle between identified gifts and a healthy planned giving prospect pipeline. Think of it more as if it was gifts inspired by prospects. If you start with just a little piece of the pie, a little bit of information through conversation with the known planned giving prospects, then we get them to notify us of their intentions, and it really does inspire other people to do the same thing. If we can create stories based on that, share those stories, it can really inspire others to make a gift. Then, through what we call a drip campaign, through a constant drip of stories and information, we thank that donor. And we thank donors who are already in the Planned Giving Society, and we make other non-planned giving donors aware that we have the society and that it's a great way to express a gift long-term to the organization. That work helps potential planned giving donors self-identify, like I say, raise their hands so that we can begin to work with them. As we're defining our planned giving program, I realize that planned giving can be intimidating. And there are all sorts of acronyms that you hear and you feel like you need to know them. So if you're in charge of fundraising or you're a major gift officer in a smaller place, trying to learn the language can be very intimidating. I say you don't need to, certainly not at the beginning. And if you need to, you can include a board member who has some level of expertise in planned giving or family legacy giving. Second, it's the pathway that mirrors an annual fund or major gifts. We want to demystify it by making it feel as much like a normal part of the process as we can, just like we would with annual gifts. It's just a deferred gift. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's just a deferred gift via the donor's estate. That's all it is. Number 3, most planned gifts exist as simple bequests. While you could get smart on all these different variations, all the different planned giving vehicles, all the different ways that they can do it, just realize that by and large, most of the gifts that your arts organization will get will come from simple bequests. So if you learn that part of it, that's what you need to know. That's what you need to communicate. Because most donors, even those who leave large gifts, but certainly those who leave modest gifts, almost always do it through estate planning. So what's the planned giving process? We look at the same thing we look at in terms of annual fund. You remember I said we try to make this feel like the annual fund as much as we can. We look at current donors, patrons, and volunteers. We want those people who are closest to us. Board members, past board members, volunteers, current donors, patrons who have come for a long time but maybe don't make an annual gift. And surprisingly, they are a very good source to go to talk about planned gifts. It might be that they view their purchase of tickets or admissions to be their support of the institution, but when they're gone, they view a planned gift as the continuation of their support. That's a great way to look at it, and certainly don't leave them out of the mix when you are looking at the potential prospect base. Most of the gifts come from those who are around 55 to 65 years old. Cultivate those relationships. That's where you should be spending your time. If they're making the decision between 55 and 65, you want to start that drip campaign that we talked about, that marketing drip, much earlier so that they begin to think about and to remember that you are a nonprofit, that you accept gifts, and that legacy giving is an important part of what you do. So we have these donors who self-select and they respond to your messages, and they'll do it based on their life stage. If we really believe that 55 to 65-year-old is the activation decade, then start the 10 years prior to that. Keep that information out, slow drip campaign. And third, you have existing planned giving donors whose situations, needs, or abilities have changed. Always keep in contact. It's not just to preserve the gift, but even people who are in their 70s and 80s have lifestyle changes. They have things that happen to them, and it might change the nature. It's not always a bad thing either. That might change the nature of that planned gift. Staying in contact with them and making sure that the planned gift that they made a decade ago is still the planned gift they're planning on making now, making sure that their recognition is in place, and just stewarding that relationship so if something unexpected, good or bad, were to happen, they know that they can reach out and contact your organization. But let's go through the basic rules. We have basic rules for planned giving. And I've alluded to some of these, but let me just reinforce them now. The first one is keep the program simple. Start with the basics. Just do the basics. You don't have to come out with a fully formed, in-depth program. What you really need is just to enhance your planned giving program a little bit at a time as you get better and better, as it gets more and more mature, but build the program that you can manage. Usually, often, we'll see programs that are built and they're built too big and nobody can maintain it. And after 18 or 24 or 36 months, the staff or the board begin to neglect it, falls to the wayside, and that cycle perpetuates itself every 5 to 7 years. So keep it simple, keep it manageable. Number 2, measure it in terms of donors. Measure your success in terms of donors. Don't count the money because that's a variable that can change quite frequently. But what I like to say is set goals based on adding a specific number of new planned gift donors each year. Maybe it's one every other month. Maybe it's one every other week. It depends on your organization, the prospects that you have, how you can manage it. But to try to measure that in terms of dollars will be extraordinarily difficult and I think disappointing. But if you look at to say how many donors could we get commitments from on a monthly basis, that's one that you can easily measure, and you can take actions and you can see the results much more clearly than you can with dollars that might be realized 20 years from now. Next on our list is be consistent. I just alluded to this. Cultivate a plan giving program with a steady flow of information and opportunities. Don't start it and stop it and start it and stop it. That is not good for anybody. It's not good for your donors. It's not good for the program. You have to start all over again. It takes forever to rebuild momentum. So just be consistent. It's better to do a few things really well in plan giving than to try to be a plan giving professional 24/7 and then in 3 months have it collapse. Number 4, have access to an expert. I said something about this earlier, but you could put a family planning lawyer on your board who would be willing to do some pro bono work with you as a staff member or with the development committee if they have a role in this. But really have access to an expert, but always have access to somebody so when that sophisticated planned gift donor comes along, and they will, that the byproduct of you not having to know everything doesn't hurt your ability to attract those kinds of gifts. Number 5, be conspicuous. Provide multiple opportunities for your donors to notify you of their intentions. I've seen this put in program books and on annual fund envelopes and literally everywhere. Do we expect a measurable reaction from that every single time we do it? No, but we do depend on it to create awareness, because as people begin to think about what they're going to do in terms of legacy gifts, you want to be top of mind. And so if you're constantly present with a plan giving program, you can be top of mind for those donors. And last is celebrate. And I know this should go without saying, but I'm going to say it. Celebrate the wins. When someone makes a commitment, you can celebrate with them. So if they underwrite an artist, you can have dinner with the artist. Or if they underwrite a program, you can make sure that part of the program is named after them. Or there's all sorts of ways to celebrate, but both internally and with the donor, celebrate those wins because it's what gives you momentum. Remember, you're likely not going to realize the revenue for some time, so it can be really delayed gratification. The development director 20 years from now is going to be really glad you did that work, but by then it's too late to celebrate the donor and celebrate the achievement of getting that planned gift. So how do you launch this program? Start where you are. If you don't have a program, start small. If you do have a program, let it grow. But just wherever you are, begin from there. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Number 2, create or restart it. If you have to go from the ground up, it's okay. Go from the ground up. If you have to restart it, and if you've had 3 restarts or 5 restarts or 10 restarts, do it differently this time. Create a program that you can actually manage and one that is sustainable. Next, define your program. What kind of gifts will you accept? How will you talk about those gifts, and where will you talk about those gifts? Next, develop your team. Don't be an island. Don't try to do plan giving all by yourself. But who's going to work on communicating, cultivating, soliciting, recognizing planned gifts? That will take more than one person to do effectively, particularly if it's the same person who has annual fund responsibilities. Next is to develop your case. How are you going to talk about it? The outgrowth of all your fundraising messaging. You've already developed an annual fund message. You know how to talk about the organization. You have an organizational message. You probably have a strategic message. So again, you don't have to develop things from thin air. You can take what already exists and you can put it in terms of application to plan giving as well. Defining your prospect base. Work with people who know you, like you, trust you. Those are the ones who you spend the most time trying to appeal to. And then you can drill down deeper and get into that demographic, age and stage information that we talked about earlier in this video. And then define cultivation, recognition, and appreciation opportunities. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but it's really important to thank people once they've made this commitment. It is not one and done. It's not they've signed the paper, now we have to wait until they pass away to realize the gains on this. You've got a great opportunity for relationship building in between the time that they sign and the time that you realize the gift. You really should enjoy it. They should enjoy it. Your artist should enjoy it. Someone's done something sacrificial for you. And so it's a great way to celebrate for 5, 10, maybe 15 years in some cases. Next on the list is create a marketing plan for prospect cultivation. Now, again, this doesn't have to be an in-depth plan. It's 4 or 5 or 6 things that you do over and over again, that you get really good at, that you conspicuously message, that you say the same thing over and over again in different places, so all your patrons eventually see it and acknowledge it. Next is to be bold and ask. Not everybody will raise their hand for you. Not everyone will see that information and say, yes, yes, here's my planned gift. You will have to cultivate. In the earlier session where we talked about solicitations, for instance, making this part of a comprehensive ask, rolling planned giving into that, is usually one of the best, finest, most productive ways to do it. And last on this list is just sustain the program. Keep activities easy. Keep them simple. Keep them repetitive. That's how you become successful. Now, as you get those down and you want to add something else, great, add something else. But don't try to build the whole thing immediately, because I guarantee you the stamina will die in about 3 months. All right, planned giving conversations. The big question is, how do I talk about planned giving with my prospects? And I'll admit, it can be uncomfortable because it eventually leads to someone's passing almost invariably. And so we don't want to talk about death. And planned giving is connected to death, and so we don't want to talk about it. But let's say that somebody raised their hand, or they checked a box. Now what do we do? But here's a few do's and don'ts just to get you started. Number 1, don't provide legal or financial advice. That is, unless you're a lawyer, do not provide legal or financial advice. That is not your job. Most cases, they have advisors to do that job. All you can do is talk about what their gift means to the organization, how recognition can happen, how the gift can be restricted or unrestricted or temporarily restricted. You can talk about how it affects your organization, but you're not providing legal advice and you're not providing them with financial advice. But let's get to the do's. Do encourage donors to work with a professional. If they're making a legacy gift to you, it's very likely that they're making a legacy gift to others as well. So they're likely going to need help with that. Most of them already have help. But if you find someone who doesn't, recommend that they work with a professional. That might be an attorney, that might be their investment person, but don't go it alone. Never go it alone on that sort of thing. Next, do inspire donors through examples and testimonials. The best way for those who are considering making a planned gift, the best way for them to learn about it is how other people did it. And you can have those stories ready-made. Make them real, has to be real, but you can have those stories ready-made to share. And you can talk about encouraging others based on how other folks have done it, or what 2 or 3 options are, or ask them how other organizations have treated them if they've already made legacy gifts. Through examples and testimonials, you can really attract somebody to think about, oh, this is an easy pathway. I really can get this done. And last on this list is do be ready with the message and materials to validate and build trust. Should you have a brochure about planned giving? Yes. Should you include it on your website? Yes. But again, I'm going to say keep it simple. Don't turn your website into the kitchen sink of planned giving. You don't have to list everything on this. Here's all the gifts that we'll accept, and it's an 8-point type, and you scroll until your knuckles hurt. That's not the idea. The idea is keep it simple. Be ready with message and materials so that when somebody raises their hand or when you think it's time to go talk to somebody, you can have enough information to build trust and keep the conversation moving forward. What are your next steps? Are you ready to start or restart your planned giving program? Great. Then here are the things that I would ask you to think about. First of all, assess and prepare to enhance your planned giving program. Next, determine the basics of your program. What kind of gifts will you accept? How will you talk about it? Who will talk about it? Get those fundamentals down. Know where you're going before you start. Number 3, if you really want to have a roadmap, go to RSC's website. And we have a planned giving outline. Go to our website, click resources, then click publications. That'll take you to a place where you can actually download a free planned giving document that summarizes everything that we just talked about here. To wrap this up, planned giving is the ultimate way to build long-term sustainability for your organization. By educating donors and incorporating planned giving into your overall strategy, you can secure the future of your mission. Keep it simple. Don't try to develop a huge program, and don't try to do it all at once. Think in terms of numbers of members, not dollars given. And always be ready to reach out to RSC Associates if you need some quick advice.